But if I add something like an insight that for me was like a big aha moment or really helped my participants, and I include it, and it's a value adding to people who read the caption of that photo. And other triggers that I have are sometimes quotes. If I come across a really beautiful quote and I try to share an example or a story that I experienced, which could relate to that quote that I read or came across. And of course, I share the quote as well. Or another example could be if I come across something in my personal life, I sometimes share a little bit about that as well. But I always also give the lesson or takeaway that that taught me, which might be able to help others as well.
Welcome to the Leader's Edge. And I am your host, Dina Loomis. And with me is my esteemed, very popular guest. And she is not a stranger at all, especially to social media. With episode number 3 and season 15, let's welcome to the virtual stage my favorite, Doreen Cooper.
Thank you very much for having me, Miss Dinah. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, whatever the time may be for our viewers. Thank you for having me today.
And Doreen, what comes to mind is this. I I have this feeling that you are the youngest top influencer in LinkedIn. Because I look at all the others and medyo mature and all that. But you're the one who really looks the youngest. I believe I'm right, correct?
Well, I've met a number who are younger than myself, but thank you very much for the compliment.
Oh
I'm,
my.
I'm thankful to hear that I look younger than my years. I hope that's right.
Now, Doreen, considering the many accomplishments that you have already, and just to cite a few, experienced professional speaker and skilled in communication, training delivery, management, employee training, recruitment, and project coordination. Also, of course, you have completed academic units under the Master of Arts of the Ateneo de Manila University. Now, I'm just very curious, what triggered your interest in social media? Do you have role models? Did you get anybody to mentor you?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you very much for asking that. Quite frankly, I wasn't particularly interested in social media. I mean, I'm an older millennial. I think that's what I'm called. And that means that when I was born, the internet wasn't around yet. It took a couple of years before the internet
Oh,
came
okay.
around, yes. Which means that I'm not really a digital native. But I think in regard to social media, I really was able to see and appreciate the power that it had when I left my previous job, when I resigned from my work. Now, just to put some context around this, I left my previous job so I could pursue my master's degree full time because with the work demands that I had, I would not have been able to take on more credits or more subjects every semester. And I knew that I had to give something up, and I chose at that moment to pursue doing my master's degree full time. Now, when I got out of school and when I got out of my full time job and I was pursuing my master's, I realized that I got, I honestly was bored just studying. I felt that I needed to do work for me to be able to apply the things that I was learning in school because I really, really love working. That's one thing about me that I think for those I've had the privilege of working with, they know this that I really love working. It's something I really enjoy doing, and so I decided to to do this, so like to explore doing training consulting or training consultancy. Coincidentally, my first client was my previous employer, and after
Oh,
that,
okay,
yes, I came full circle with them.
okay.
And I realized, I mean, when I finished that engagement and I took a moment, I was like, apparently I can do that. I can work while studying, because it never crossed my mind that I could do that. So, I mean, I'm giving a bit of context here, but just to zoom in to the main point, when I decided to pursue training consultancy full time, I decided not to just jump in, but to take a step back and to study the best practices, the current brands that are out there, or the current businesses which are successful. And I realized that one of the things that really made them successful was having a strong brand. So I really decided to focus on that. Like, what can make my brand stand out? What are the things that I can offer that my competitors, for example, would not be able to, or just to differentiate myself from others? And social media just became one of the platforms which was an answer to that response. So it wasn't even the main answer, it was just like an add on. It was like a platform that helped amplify my brand or my message. And I hope that answers your question. I wasn't really planning on focusing on it.
All
It
right.
was more of like a byproduct of the work
Yes,
that I
yes.
was doing.
Very interesting. Now, many times I notice some people are so negative. They, no matter how good the person is, what an expert he or she is, they have these negative comments in so various social media. So how do you counter those negative comments?
To be honest, Miss Dinah, I don't. I just ignore them and I move forward with my life. I wish them well. I pray for them. I mean, I do have my own fair share of bashers or trolls. There are people, I don't know how many they are. Maybe it's just one person with multiple accounts, who knows, and a lot of time on their hands, who spread false narratives about me. And I mean, one of the people that I really respect and at times work with said it best, that, you know what, the best thing to do is just to keep doing what you're doing and just do a really good job at it. And I'm
Oh,
just very thankful that so many people also believe in me, and that I have really good relationships with a number of people, and I don't take those for granted. So I think that the best way to counter is not to actively counter it, it's to move forward and just do what you do best.
all right. Now, something else just came to my mind now. There are times there's such a thin line between good taste and sometimes overly what we call trumpeting yourself. Because, of course, I'm not referring to you because otherwise I would not be inviting you here. There are just some people who just, it's almost like, what is that fantasy land? And then they're already saying the best of this, the best of, I mean, describing themselves as the number one, the best of this and all. And I just feel like it's bad taste already. So, uh, what is your advice? Words of wisdom for people who want to also participate in social media.
Mhm. Well, first and foremost, thank you for making sure that you were able to give your friend feedback and for calling it out. I think that we need more of that. I like to call it tough love. On one hand, it's tough calling it out, but at the same time, there's love in it because you're trying to help the person. It's not true. This is going to help your brand if you take it out, because how can you back it up without information or without data? So thank you very much for the courage to speak up and call that out. I think we really need to do more of that. And in regard to those who want to make a mark on social media, but at the same time without falling into those so-called traps that you mentioned, I think for me, the number one thing to focus on is to add value. It really is to add or to give value instead of just flaunting our accomplishments or, just talking about it. Focus on how it can give or add value to others. For example,
Mm.
when I was recognized as the 2022 number one most influential Filipino woman on LinkedIn, I had to, of course, post about it. I had to share it.
Mm.
Otherwise, I think I would have also been doing a disservice to the organizers who were kind enough to give me the distinction or give me the recognition. But I think that a lot of it also boils down to how you post about it.
Mm.
And I always try to come from a place of gratitude and a place of making sure that it shows that this isn't just about me. And I say that in every talk and every workshop that I run or facilitate. All of these accomplishments that you see, it took a village. And I'm so thankful for that. It's not just one person. I had the privilege of being given that. But you know what? I have a very strong support system, and the people I have the privilege of working with, whether it's in just one workshop or it's in multiple ones or it's in multiple encounters, rest assured that our encounter helped enrich me as an individual, as a professional, and as a human being. So you're part of my story and you're part of those distinctions as well. So I think that's what makes a huge difference. It's in how you speak about it, and it's also in your intention when you say it, when you talk about it. So I would say go back to your intentions and really ask, what am I saying and why am I saying this? If it's to show off, okay, fine. I see a lot of that as well, humble bragging or showing off, fair enough. If you're transparent about it, then there you go. At least you're transparent about it or you're true to yourself. But I would say go back to your intentions and always look at how you can add value to the lives of others.
Doreen, how much time and effort do you give to your hobby or favorite pastime? Maybe I can say that for social media.
It's not a hobby of mine, Miss Dinah, to be honest. But since you asked, how much time do I give to working on or doing stuff on social media? It's honestly not a lot. I would say that if I spend 30 minutes a day, that's already quite long.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Okay.
already really long because I'm also very busy. I mean, on a regular day, I would say that most of the time I have talks, workshops every day. And that needs my time and attention more than all of these other things, of
Okay.
course.
Okay.
So if I am able to spend 30 minutes on it, that's already a lot of time. And that's also the reason why, to be honest, I don't really browse on social media. I just um I just check for posts, for messages quickly. And that's also why at times I may not be able to get back to messages as quickly. And sometimes I really try to get back to people within a 24-hour time frame. But if I'm not, rest assured, I will get back to you, But it's because it really can eat a lot of time. And again, if you have all of these pressing or urgent priorities, you can't really focus full time on that, especially if that's not your full-time job.
Right, right. But I appreciate all the tips that you have just given now. And of course, because there are people who probably are just starting, how do you find inspiration? How do you find a certain what we call gems of thought that you want to impart to or share with people who are the people following social media? Do you do a lot of research, or are these like does it come from books or from just not just readings or experiences?
Mm-hmm. It's usually there's a trigger. There's a trigger that comes to mind, and I think, oh, I can post about that. So, for example, when I post a photo from a workshop that I just concluded, I don't just post about the workshop. I post about something that we talked about, like a highlight or a special insight for me that we exchanged during that workshop. So it's also value adding to people who read about it. Because if I were a random person and I saw, okay, you posted about your workshop, it's like, what is that to me? Like, how does it enrich my life, you know? But if I add something like an insight that for me was like a big aha moment or really helped my participants, and I include it, and it's a value adding to people who read the caption of that photo. And other triggers that I have are sometimes quotes. If I come across a really beautiful quote and I try to share an example or a story that I experienced, which could relate to that quote that I read or came across. And of course, I share the quote as well. Or another example could be if I come across something in my personal life, I sometimes share a little bit about that as well. But I always also give the lesson or takeaway that that taught me, which might be able to help others as well. So
I
those are
like
some of the
that.
things.
Yeah, I like that. I appreciate that very much because you know some people also do do daily you know daily what we call thoughts of wisdom etc in LinkedIn and I what makes a difference between you and the others, I believe, Doreen, I'm beginning to see now, is that you do put a lot of value in what you are doing and what you can do to help others. And I like the what you mentioned now that in the course of the workshop, something, an issue was discussed, and then, oh, there was an insight that was brought out, and then that's what you share because it's not something that you just pick up from the books, you know. So that gives me a very good or a deeper insight as to why you are a favorite social media influencer. I do realize now that it's part of your nature and your heart. You know, you don't operate only from your brain, but also from your heart. You want to share. So that's really fantastic. Now, because you've been at this how many years, Doreen, with social media?
I can't remember. I do remember that I first joined Facebook maybe in 2008. It's been ages,
Oh,
but I really became active on LinkedIn, I believe, just in 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
wow. That I I tell you, Doreen, that's amazing because
Thank you.
some people have been in LinkedIn for way, way decades more than you, and they haven't made a dent. And yet here you are. I, I I'm so surprised. This has taken me aback. What? 2019, and you've already made deep inroads in that social media for platform. That's so just so amazing. Now, Doreen, tell me what particular experience or insight or something like what happened in the course of your social media experience that for you would have been the most fulfilling. You know, that as a result of this, you said you shared something and maybe there were reactions, and for you, that was really unforgettable, fulfilling.
Wow, thank you for that question. And it really makes me reflect on the different interactions that I've had. I think one of the most fulfilling moments for me would have been some months ago when I received an email from a lady who was based in the States. And this is a lady who, I mean, she shared a bit about her story. She wasn't asking me for anything, not at all. But she shared her story. And she was a lady who was going through some really very, very difficult times. To be honest, her situation sounded very sad. And I could sense that to some people, or to many even, her situation might come across as even, I would say, well, for some might say that it was really hopeless. Shouldn't use that word at all, but I can say that if other people were to be placed in her situation, they would probably see their situation as hopeless. So she gave me her background, and I can't remember which post this was, but she did specifically say that she reached out to me because something that I shared really just touched her heart and gave her so much hope about her situation. And it was really touching for me. I don't think about this when I share. I don't think about how can I be inspiring today or how can I be motivating today. Not at all. But the fact that I was able to touch a person's life, even if it's just that one moment, I know that I was able to make even a little bit of positive difference in this world. And I'm very thankful for that.
That's it. That's it. You just hit the mark, Doreen. That's the secret. Because honestly, there's just so many countless individuals who do their bit in social media, but as I said, they hardly made a dent. They can try, but I suppose it's also the intention, the head plus the heart and the spirit that goes with it. So thank you for sharing. That's deep. I tell you, that was just amazing. And of course, I saw what a loving person you are when I saw your Facebook and LinkedIn post that you went all the way to UK just to be with your grandmother. And not everyone will do that. That shows the heart in you that you don't forget things like that. You would go out of your way, and that's family. And knowing that you're so busy here, so demands on your time, and yet you went out of your way to do that.
Thank you, Miss Dinah. I really appreciate that. And I do want to mention that a lot of it also goes back to my mom, because even if my parents were separated from when I was very young, my mom never planted any anger or seeds of bitterness in me in regard to dealing with my father's side. In fact, she encouraged me to build a relationship with them because she wanted me to experience what it was as well, to have a relationship with them. And even it's true, even if I had to move a number of schedules around, I had to cancel some engagements. I had to give some up, but these are part of who I am. And I know that I would regret it more if I didn't make those sacrifices during those times.
Yeah, well, okay. I remember one time. Oh, yes. We met at the annual conference of the
Yes.
Toastmasters International. And because I'm seeing in you the the marks, one would be great leader in Toastmasters International. And I asked you, do you have plans or aspirations of going all the way up, all the way to district governor, to international director, etc.? And you did say, you did say that your mind is not geared towards that right now. So, may I know what are the reasons why you're not interested in going higher in the leadership ladder of Toastmasters?
I guess it's because I am fully aware of who I am as a person, which is if I take on a responsibility, I know that I'm going to give it the most possible. How
Okay.
do I say this? It's like I'm going to give it everything that I can give it. And given the demands of my work right now, I don't think that I can give it the attention and the effort that it requires. And I don't want to do it half heartedly. And of course, because I also got married last year. So my husband and I are also thinking about the possibility of starting our own family. And I wouldn't want to, I think it would be unfair of me to do that to Toastmasters as well. If I decided to gun for a higher position, for example, and then I couldn't give it 110%. And yeah, I think it would be really unfair to the organization, as a matter of fact. So maybe in the long future, we'll see, but not in the next
Yes,
5 years. I think I don't see
right,
it happening
right.
anytime
Yes,
soon.
yes, yes. As you just cited another facet of your character that I truly admire, because Doreen, in all the years of my getting involved, being committed to several associations, I feel the same way. Why will I accept a position of, and of course it gives you honor and some privileges, but if I cannot give it the time, the effort, and all the things that are needed, because it's a responsibility. It's not a one-way street. It's not just an honor, but most of it responsibilities. If I can't do that, why should I? Why should I? I mean, people will talk about it. Oh my gosh, they will never forget us. So and so, became president of this huge association, and then we can hardly see her. I've heard
Exactly.
things like that from some people I know who accepted high positions in certain associations, but because of their work, their uh, their job, they could not give as much time. And later on, you hear feedback. Oh, then why did she accept it? She
Exactly.
she's she's hardly there during meetings.
Mhm.
Excuse me, why accept a position if you can't give it your all? So
Ex-
that's, you see, Doreen, um, I'm peeling layers and layers because I'm wondering why I was so attracted to you
Thank
when
you.
we see each other. It's all right, call it intuition. Call it intuition. I could sense that you have certain facets of your character, and the your persona, you vibrated that to me. That's what we call intuition, woman to woman. I said there's more to this person than just a lovely face, and you just revealed these things now to me, and that's why I really decided that one of these days I'm going to invite you, because uh it's not nice in big events, for example, to just what we call monopolize somebody's time just so you get to know her. I mean, don't just do that.
Yes,
That
yes.
person also needs to mix and mingle with others. Besides, that's really against protocol. You can't do that. Not in big events, because people get to know also other people. So do not latch on to somebody all the time during that event. That's really a no-no. So I'm just beginning to realize I was right, my intuition about you, that there's really much more to you than just that, the lovely face. I just could sense that. You
Thank
have,
you. Thank you.
yeah, you also have a heart to go with the brain and the beauty. Yeah, that's terrific, Doreen. Now, are there any forthcoming events or something you want to announce before we say goodbye?
Well, I do have an upcoming public workshop, and I'd love to invite everybody to that. I have a workshop on effective and assertive communication happening this December. I believe that the exact date is December 12th, but I don't know the exact time yet. But of course, people can reach out to me if they'd like more information on that. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is happening in Makati.
All right, all right. That's something. Yes, yes. That's good. That's good. So some maybe some last minute tips and guideline for all those wannabes who want also to make some kind of dent in social media.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much for the opportunity for me to share a few tips. I think for me, if you really want to make an impact on social media, focus on adding value to others. However, it may be, maybe your focus is on being funny. You want to make people smile or laugh. Or maybe it's to inspire or to motivate others or to inform them about something. Focus on how you can best achieve that objective and also focus on who you want to be watching you or taking part in your social media journey. So what we're saying here is focus on your objective and really put yourself in the shoes of your audience, of the people whom you want to be your fans, to be your raving fans, to be your supporters. But overall, I would say don't focus on becoming like an influencer or anything. Just focus on helping others and adding or giving value. Because if you focus on that, the key purpose that you have on adding value, on putting in purpose in the work that you do, then everything else follows. And even if it doesn't, at least you know that you lived out your purpose. And there's honestly nothing more fulfilling than that. I hope that helps. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me because I am quite active online.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's something that a lot of people need to hear. And of course, to everybody out there, click like and subscribe our Leaders Edge channel by SEASTBI. And look, you can also just reach out to Doreen if you feel like you need more guidelines, more tips, because honestly, I can see other people are trying, but they're not quite there yet. So I'm glad that you're here, Doreen, and I really appreciate your accepting my invitation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you
And
for having me. Thank you very much.
yes. Oh, before I forget, okay, one last thing. I'm sorry. It just came to my mind now. Among the places that you have visited, you've traveled to, because recently I know you went to Vietnam. So what would be your most favorite place that you visited?
Oh, okay. That's a tough question to answer. But I think there are two. I hope that's okay if I have two, not just
Do.
one.
Yes.
When it comes to shopping, food, and massage, it has to be Bangkok. I love Thailand.
Okay. Yes.
I absolutely love Bangkok.
Okay.
And when it comes to just how things look, like how the city looks, the day-to-day vibe, I would say, of life, and the diversity of cuisine and cultural experiences, I really love London, I have to say.
What was the second place?
London.
Oh, yes. All right. Yes. Oh, many times I plan to visit and something happens, and but yes, thank you for that reminder, so it's still there in my mind. Yeah, that's good, and I'm so happy that you're able to go there, and really savor the place, because you deserve to be happy. Doreen,
Thank
I'm so happy for you, honest. I'm so happy. At such a young age, you've already achieved so much that people much older only dream about and wish they could do. Yeah. Yeah. And I like the one thing that you just said. Yung bang, some people kasi, they fail because they try too hard. Well, overly, overly ambitious. That could be also, instead of helping them, it could be a source of failure. So I like the way you are saying that you need to balance it and really look at the motivation and look at your audience, what you want to do for them, more than what you want to do for yourself. It's for
you.
them. Wow, yeah, it's not about me, it's about them. Wow, yes. What a great reminder. Doreen, thank you so much. And ladies and yes, ladies and gentlemen, and our next speaker will be Ekon Malig on the human touch and the extraordinary customer service. That's why he's called Mr. Customer Service. He will be our next speaker. And remember, everybody, learning is a never-ending journey with limitless vistas. Thank you again, Doreen.